Donovan, we've already had the first team manager on speaking about the whole issue of losing a lot of players at the start of the season and having to obviously replace them with people who've come up through the youth team.
Yeah.
Now, if you like, your activity is a couple of rungs on the ladder below them moving up into the first team. Perhaps for people who aren't familiar with the setup, you could briefly walk them through how academy activity fits in as a feeder for the first team.
So sure, yeah. So the under-18s, the youth team, that's the responsibility of both Paul and myself, and that feeds in then to the under-23s, which is the responsibility of Paul Burnell and Neil Barrett, and then that feeds into the first team. So there is a very noticeable pathway there all the way through, just by the mere fact that Paul's involved with both the 18s and the 23s, kind of would tell you that. And you know, the biggest change for me this year is Gavin, to be honest. Gavin, and obviously very ably assisted by John Nurse and Scott Tarr, and the approach they've taken with blooding younger players. And so past youth team products have found themselves playing a lot of football this year. But from my point of view, even current youth team players are now getting given a chance in cup games. And Lucas Ness played a full 90 minutes against Merstrom recently in the Surrey Cup, as did Rudy Allen. And on the bench we had Terrell Sterling and Jude Malloy, a youngster who's still only an under-16. So he's throwing youngsters in there, and that kind of that feeling is filtering through the club. And I think there's a lot of excitement about, and if players are, have the opportunity of stepping up to first team and performing, then it makes my job a little bit easier, because everyone's more motivated to do well at 18s, knowing that if they do well in 18s, the pathway's there for them to go all the way to the top.
I mean, one key factor, obviously, when they make that step up is not only ability but also confidence. How do you instill confidence at that kind of an age group to make a relatively, shall we say, smooth transition upwards?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's different, but we use tough love with them. It's never, football's a tough game, and we try and, from the beginning of pre-season, whenever we get a new group of players in, we try and harden them. Training's tough, training's intense. It's always with the ball, but it's intense, and we demand high standards. We train a lot. We train twice a week, and we consistently demanding more of them. I mean, even tonight when it was 2-0 and there was 20 minutes to go, we were very vocal on the sidelines in terms of them, making sure that they continually push the limits. In the end, we've conceded a late goal, and that's caused us a few problems. But that type of attitude is just through, we try and achieve that through constant repetition, constant high standards in training, and every time we meet, we remind them of the levels they need to get to. And then when a few of them step up to under 23s or first team football, I think they are more equipped to deal with the demands, because when you step into a first team environment, you got to sink or swim. There's no softly approach. So I like to think the way we prepare, the demands we set on them, the expectations we set on them, means that they're more equipped to go into first team football.
I mean, the other thing which I think is worth raising is the remarkable level of consistency you're able to achieve. Over the last 4 years, I've seen you win at Yeovil, I've seen you win at Burnley, I've seen you play Wolves and, for the first 15 minutes, hold their own. How do you achieve, with year in, year out, new intakes, how do you achieve that level of consistency in terms of output, in terms of attitude, in terms of level of skill?
Again, I think we've got a good group of coaches at the club, and a fantastic, not only coaches but people behind the scenes. There are some fantastic people at the club, and no club can be successful without fantastic people, and I think that's the secret to our success. I've spoken about obviously what Gavin's doing at first team level with John Nurse and Scott Tarr, but I haven't even mentioned Penders, who this year is director of football. He's gone upstairs, but he's here tonight. He's and he's almost kind of in many ways, he's the symbol of our development, I would say. And the chairman at the top of it all does a fantastic job. And you've got Debbie Bill and Pete Allen and all these people. I've probably failed to mention a few, but these are all fantastic people around the club. So they give us the support we need. They give us coaches everything we need to achieve what we need to do. For example, if we can't train at Embercourt for whatever reason, we're able to train on 3G somewhere. The club subsidise that, and it allows us coaches to really work hard. And the coaches at the club are extremely passionate about consistently, delivering success, but not only success, but developing players. I think we're passionate about that. So all of those ingredients mean that's, we're producing players, and we've been producing players now for, I would say, five seasons. So, yeah, it's a pleasure to be a part of.
Final question, Don. Actually, you mentioned the move of Ian Pendry becoming a director of football. Should one read into that you're gradually creating a kind of Metropolitan Police FC way, that there's actually a way, a philosophy of how the football should be played, possibly even from school days right up to first team?
I think so. I mean, that takes time to develop, and I think we're conscious of developing a style of play, of developing a certain type of player. Not only a player who can do certain things technically, but the character, the personality. And I'll be honest, over the years, if people come into the club and they tick a lot of those boxes, but they don't tick a few, character and personality being one, then sometimes they end up going somewhere else. So I think, again, that identity, it evolves over time, and it evolves because of the people at the club and your common goals and aims. And it's certainly there, and it's reflective of the coaches and all the people supporting the club.
Don, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations once again, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you, Bernard.
Thank you.